You are listening to the Why Smart Women podcast, the podcast that helps smart women work out why we repeatedly make the wrong decisions and how to make better ones. From relationships, career choices, finances, to faux fur jackets and kale smoothies. Every moment of every day, we're making decisions. Let's make them good ones. I'm your host, Annie McCubbin, and as a woman of a certain age, I've made my own share of really bad decisions. Not my husband. I don't mean him, though. I did go through some shockers to find him. And I wish this podcast had been around to save me from myself. This podcast will give you insights into the working of your own brain, which will blow your mind. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm recording, and you are listening on this day. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Well, hello, smart women. If any of you had been listening to the audiobook of Why Smart Women Make Bad Decisions and How Critical Thinking Can Protect Them, which we have played over about the last 10 weeks, you might like to tune in to the next 15 weeks and listen to the audio recording of my second book, which is Why Smart Women Buy the Lies and How Critical Thinking Reveals the Truth. So this is a continuation of the hapless character Kat, how she identifies the flaws in her thinking and finally makes better decisions. If you find yourself tuning in and you are perhaps in episode 3 or episode 4, by all means, go back to episode 1 and follow the narrative because it has a very strong narrative arc. So, relax, kick back, get yourself a cup of tea or a glass of wine and listen to the audio version of Why Smart Women Buy the Lies and How Critical Thinking Reveals the Truth. See you soon. Bye. Chapter 6. Spanakopita. You are standing in the Ch.6 lounge room staring at a crack running up the wall. I've got one just like it.
Soon we all be out on the street,
says Mrs. Ch.6. Why will we be out on the street?
The repairs to building going to kill us. You heard what Mr. Sanderson say. We all up for thousands.
It has been a week since the strata meeting, and you still have no idea how you'll find the money. The meeting had been held in Mr. Sanderson's lounge room. He's currently the strata president, a title he relishes. Mr. Sanderson is a small man in his 70s whose hair looks like it has been drawn on with a whiteboard marker. He favours Old Spice cologne and brightly coloured shirts depicting fish and bird scenes. There had been about 20 people in the room. Mr. Sanderson had addressed the other residents from his Jason recliner, his West Highland White Terrier Peanut on his lap.
Right. Let's get this underway so we can have a nibble and a tipple.
You hadn't wanted a nibble and a tipple. His flat smelt mouldy.
Shall I open a window?
You'd said.
Not on your Nelly. Unlike you high-risers, you may have noticed I live on the ground floor. Theft is rife.
Who is going to climb in your window with 20 people in the room?
Well, Mr. Sanderson,
said Mrs. Hume,
the repairs to the building, how much are we up for?
The remedial work is agenda item 2. Agenda item 1 is animal behaviour. Molly, we've had a complaint about your macaw.
Adonis is a parakeet,
said Molly.
Who's complaining?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Mr. Sanderson, we would appreciate an indication of the projected costs,
said Mrs. Hume.
It's you, isn't it, Mr. Sanderson? You're the one complaining about Adonis,
said Molly.
I'm merely passing on a message, Molly. Your macaw has been pushing things off the balcony and screeching repeatedly.
Susan pushes things off my bookshelf.
You'd said.
He is not a macaw. Macaws are gigantic, destructive, furniture-chewing beasts. Adonis is a gentle bird, and he's not screeching. He's asking for spanakopita.
Spanakopita?
He's rehomed from a Greek family.
It doesn't sound like he's saying spanakopita.
It's his accent. The family was from Macedonia.
Agenda item 1 is going nowhere.
I rehomed porridge.
You'd said. What is wrong with you? You'd asked yourself. Who cares if you rehomed porridge? How does that get the conversation back on track?
Porridge isn't really a proper name for a dog, is it?
Said Mr. Sanderson.
Why is it less proper than peanut?
I would have thought that to be self-evident.
Mr. Sanderson,
said Mr. Ch.6.
You can discuss animal issues after you tell us how many dollars we need.
Anyway, if we could ensure that all pets are responsibly managed to ensure the comfort of all residents.
What we up for, Mr. Sanderson?
Mr. Kovacic, I'm merely following the agenda.
Mrs. Hume had stood up. You'd notice she was holding Peanut.
Mr. Sanderson, if you don't tell us how much right now, you might find you get up one morning and Peanut is missing.
He'd smiled at Mrs. Hume.
I like a woman capable of making threats.
She'd rolled her eyes.
Item 2. Cost of building remediation, $30,000 each.
There was a silence. Eventually, Mr. Kovacic had said,
Each as in each or each as in together?
Each.
Mr. Sanderson had said with some satisfaction. He'd picked up Peanut and put him on his lap.
All right, on to Agenda 3.
How many more items are there to discuss?
You'd said,
23. I'm assuming you read the agenda, Katrina? I sent it to you?
Of course I read it, Mr. Sanderson. I printed it out, memorised it and ate it.
Peanut had barked.
Keep that up, Katrina.
Said Mr. Sanderson, running his hand across his hair.
And I'll get Mrs. Hume to dispatch porridge.
Who put him in charge?
You say to Mrs. Kovacic. You're still looking at the crack.
He is power hungry,
Mr. Kovacic says as he rolls out of the bathroom.
like my old boss, Crow.
Mrs. Kovacic doesn't want to talk about Crow,
Gas is causing concrete cancer.
she says. She stands at her sink filling her kettle. She leans her forearms on the sink.
I keep telling her, Cat, curse is nonsense. All her friends from Brush, they all believe in rubbish.
Leave my friends alone.
Says Mrs. Kovacic.
You're not from the same place?
You say.
No, I grew up on the 5th floor in Split.
You're no better than us, Bartol. We all came over on the same boat. We all seasick together.
Too many people from Brush on that boat.
Where did they all go?
You say.
Moonavale.
Okay, well, I'm glad you came to Sydney.
How are we going to pay for repairs, Bartol?
I'll check the account after Kate is gone.
It's okay. You can check now. You want me to bring you your computer?
It's okay, later, fine.
His account is suitcase of money he keeps under the bed.
I can hear you. I have stroke. I'm not deaf. Anyway, where is my paper? And my cock?
Mrs. Kovacic opens the fridge.
Cock coming.
I have to go.
You say. You cross the landing into your flat, wishing you had a suitcase of cash under your bed. What will I wear? Transformation guru Gabriel Randall has arrived from De Grey's. The first opportunity to behold him in the flesh is at a special executive leadership team meeting. Gabriel Randall has the relaxed charm of someone who has lived his life in R.M. Williams and whose father bought him a Land Rover for his 18th birthday. He is 188 centimetres and speaks with a cadence that suggests unassailable self-belief. You hate him on sight. Lydia has asked you to attend and take notes.
Oh, okay. What'll I wear?
You'd said. Lydia didn't get the joke.
Just take notes.
She'd said.
Just on matters relating to corporate affairs and comms.
At the head of the table, Gabriel Randall must have whispered something terribly funny in CEO David Firth's ear because they are giggling like a couple of schoolboys.
I am delighted,
Says David.
to introduce you all to the transformation guru himself, Gabriel Randall. Gabe, welcome to Work Wellbeing Shore.
Thank you, David.
Says Gabriel Randall.
I'm delighted to be here.
David sits back in his chair and clasps his hands on his stomach.
What can the team expect?
Gabriel Randall takes a moment. He makes meaningful eye contact with every person in the room.
Team, there are 3 things you can expect from me. Authenticity, accountability, innovation.
He lets that sink in. Lydia speaks up.
Gabriel,
Call me Gabe.
Says Gabriel. Lydia has never warmed to being corrected. She starts again.
Gabriel, can you give us a sense of what is going to happen with the business? I'm sure you've formed a view on the priority areas.
Well, thank you, Lydia. Straight to it. I have no hard and fast plans for the business yet. Today marks the beginning of my listening and learning tour. I plan to immerse myself in the operation and establish a guiding coalition before shaping a vision for WWS 2.0.
You must have some idea. We've all heard about your success steering Zambitsi through COVID.
Well, that's right, Lydia. Zambitsi came through it very well. It came down to whether or not the business viewed COVID as an opportunity or a threat. I was firmly in the opportunity camp.
Of course you saw it as an opportunity, you smug bastard, you think to yourself. I bet you didn't have a Mr. Yee in your life who succumbed to COVID after 11 days. Lydia looks at him, her expression indeterminate.
Lydia, every organisation is different, yet there are some reliable truths.
Gabe clearly feels the repeated use of a person's name infers intimacy and a good working memory.
Successful businesses are driven by a customer-centric, accountability-first cultures. The goal of every business is to cultivate an environment where everyone does their best work, to have the right people in the right roles doing the right stuff at the right scale.
Ralph Femio, Executive General Manager of Marketing, looks out the window, flicking imaginary lint off his pants. Gabriel surveys the room with a benevolent authority. David flutters his eyelashes.
What are you asking of this team, Gabe?
Says David.
I'm asking this team to get behind a journey of judicious right-sizing, to deliver optimal productivity while building a customer-centric, accountability-first culture.
Norbert Hyams, the Chief Operating Officer, raises his hand.
So, Gabe, are you talking about running leaner?
Potentially. Do you think this business could run leaner?
I think it could.
Says Norbert.
Do we need 6 floors of prime CBD real estate?
Lydia looks down at her hands, twisting her wedding ring. Oh, God, you think he's going to can the office space? You'll be 100% working from home. You'll never be able to escape Lydia's constant need to engage.
Not everyone wants to work from home.
You say. Lydia looks at you and narrows her eyes.
Well, I don't want to do a spin class at 5 a.m. every morning, but I've signed up to the Peloton Challenge, so I do it.
Let me rephrase that. Not everybody works as well from home.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Kat Mitchell, internal comms. I'm on Lydia's team.
Kat Mitchell, do you remember when hot desking was introduced?
Yes, I do.
We all resisted. Where am I going to put my plants and photos? How am I going to concentrate without a permanent cubbyhole? Now it's just the way things are.
Hot desking was a total...
So you don't want people to work from home.
Gabriel cuts you off.
And you don't want them hot desking. Perhaps everyone should have a corner office with a private butler.
Everyone laughs except you and Lydia. Gabriel smiles at you.
I know your instincts are to keep our employees happy, which is admirable. I've been working with sales teams that have been hot desking for 3 years. It's perfect.
I don't just want to keep our people happy. It's about being...
You are right to want to keep your people happy and productive. And the key to that is attitude. It's mindset. It is culture.
Culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Says Norbert. Gabriel smiles at Norbert.
Top of the class, Bert.
Why is he calling Norbert Bert? Norbert is Norbert. Norbert hates Bert. Except today. He's smiling broadly. Gabriel is now sitting on the corner of the conference table. He turns his attention back to you. Damn Lydia for bringing you here.
I know you use the Myers-Briggs tool.
He says, leaning forward, his forearm on his crossed knee.
Do you know what your profile is? I've got a theory.
Oh God, Myers-Briggs, you've done that workshop. What are you? You're at an executive leadership team meeting and you can't remember your Myers-Briggs type. Ralph is looking at you. He nods imperceptibly.
I think I'm an AWOL or something.
You look at Ralph. He shakes his head.
No, I'm an ENPL.
Gabriel gives a short, sharp laugh. David Firth doesn't get the joke, but regardless joins Gabe with a giggle combined with a shake of his head.
Okay, getting closer, but there's no L in Myers-Briggs.
L is the learning type, isn't it, Kat?
Says Lydia.
You've always been a good learner.
You, Kat Mitchell, are an INFP.
Says Gabriel, straightening up and crossing his arms across his chest.
Right.
Of course, there's no right or wrong with personality profiles. INFP, you're a mediator. You strive to make the world a better place, which is incredibly valuable.
That's true.
Says David.
You do.
This is the first compliment you have ever received from David Firth, or in fact, anyone at WWS. Lydia has never suggested the way you see the world is valuable. Maybe you hate Gabriel less than you thought.
Hot desking might work in sales, Gabriel,
Says Lydia.
but it's never worked for corporate affairs and comms.
And you would be our ISTJ, the inspector?
The inspector.
Says David.
Now, that's you to a T, Lids.
And our CEO is an ENTJ, the commander?
He nods at David.
Proud of you, mate.
David looks like he's about to cry.
Thanks, mate.
And that, ladies and gentlemen,
Says Gabriel.
is gratitude. That's the culture we want to instill. You want to know about direction, Lids? Can I call you Lids?
Lydia is fine.
No worries. Lids, that's the culture we're building, and mindset is key. Let's circle back on all of this once I've completed my listen and learn.
Great idea, Gabe.
says David.
Welcome to the team.
Hear, hear.
Says Norbert. Ralph packs up his computer, winks at you in a conspiratorial way and exits. Lydia leaves without a word. You pack up your computer and head for the door. Gabriel is waiting for you. He opens it and walks out with you.
I hope I didn't talk over the top of you.
What are you meant to say to this? Of course he talked over the top of you.
No, all good.
I'm just the new kid on the block. I'm sort of excited.
Well, I guess that makes me a local gang member.
Uh-oh. Is this some sort of ritual initiation?
You're unsure of his tone, if he's being flirty or just trying to appear more approachable. Whatever, it's not working.
Anyway, Cat Mitchell, comms. David Firth tells me he's struggling with the ingrained negativity in the culture, and I'd like your input.
Shouldn't Lydia be part of this conversation?
You say, looking down the hall to see if Lydia is in earshot.
Cat Mitchell, we have an absolute burning platform. I prioritise progress over hierarchy any day.
Okay.
Right. So I said to David, to heal the dysfunctional, disengaged culture he speaks of, we're going to pilot a positivity program, something that incorporates mindfulness, gratitude, mindset, that sort of thing. See if we can turn the ship around, get some serious wellness happening.
Okay. I think the negativity may have something to do with everyone being exhausted after the pandemic. It's been year after year of uncertainty.
Yep, I hear you, but you're talking about the past. It's time we support people to take control of the now.
Right.
It's the only thing we can control. I want comms and HR in the pilot workshop, and I want you to tell me what you think.
Right.
Champion. Expect an invitation to the workshop, and also, you need to put some neem oil on your face.
Excuse me?
Some neem oil for that cut on your forehead. It'll help with the healing. It's Ayurvedic.
Right.
You say, pulling your fringe over the scab.
Just so you know, my vision of the next 6 months does not include losing half my team.
His phone rings and he takes the call.
Billy, my man. What's up, dog? Yeah, how's it hanging, my brother?
You stand in the corridor for another minute, wondering why white men have to talk to each other like they're doing drug deals on the mean streets of Chicago. What's with all the meetings? Poor Cat. She has lurched from one unsatisfying meeting to another. Human beings seem to reserve some of their most irritating behaviour for meetings. And we have so many of them. How often do we hear the words, "I can't get back to you until the end of the day, I'm in back-to-backs." I wonder how many of these back-to-backs result in progress made. The fraudulent promise of meetings is that, by bringing together interested parties into the same room, you make progress. It's possible this happens, but unlikely. So why do we spend so much time in unproductive meetings, and what can we do about it? Without discipline, people will speak about whatever is relevant to them, their perception of the agenda. This is because agenda items are often open to interpretation. We look at life through an autobiographical lens. This includes our perspective on work issues. People are often infuriated because their perspective is not being considered or discussed. This relates to the illusion of transparency. This error of perception leads us to assume that because our emotional and intellectual perspective on an issue is so obvious to us, it must be to other people. Of course it's not. They are too involved in their own perception of the issue. To achieve the best possible outcome in a meeting, everyone should be aware of what they're going to discuss before they arrive. All meetings should be preceded by a written agenda of clear, unambiguous questions to be addressed. Note I've said questions, not statements. Once the agenda items are phrased as questions, disagreements will arise. Disagreement is too often perceived to be obstructive, which sends people into passive, defensive, or aggressive behaviour. Disagreement is not obstruction. It's the opportunity to explore the different contexts from which people address the issue being discussed. The meeting owner should pre-consider the differing perspectives that will likely arise from the questions and be prepared for the potential querying and debate. They should decide on the importance of each agenda question and start with the most pressing first. As is the way with so many minor bureaucrats, Mr. Sanderson frustrated his fellow residents by insisting on discussing the macaw issue before the most salient question, the money required for the building remediation. Myers Bridge too far? There's a lot to unpack with Gabriel. I deal with corporate speak in another chapter. First, I'd like to look at psychometric testing, specifically Myers-Briggs, which is still widely used. A lot of psychometric testing is fundamentally a lie. People's careers and decisions are being based on loopy, made-up, non-scientific frameworks. Myers-Briggs, if you're interested, was created by Catherine Cook Briggs and her daughter Isabel Briggs Myers. Both dabbled in writing fiction and opinion pieces before turning to human personality and behaviour. They based the tool on Carl Jung's psychological testing. Myers-Briggs is not called a test. It's called an indicator, which saves it from needing any robust psychological analysis. The mother and daughter team had a kind motivation for creating the tool to help women evaluate their strengths when entering the workforce during World War II. As most women had been homemakers up to that point, Myers and Briggs thought a tool would help to ease them into jobs that were new and possibly intimidating. Myers and Briggs then tried to sell their model as a psychological tool, but psychologists, realising there was no scientific validity, were not interested. However, those working in the early incarnations of management consulting were. In the 1940s, Isabel Briggs was working at a consultancy in Philadelphia. The consultancy sold the tool to big organisations for a number of different purposes. It was primarily used to evaluate candidates in the interview process, but it was also used as a self-assessment tool for CEOs and astoundingly by insurance companies to assess whether they should charge people with certain profiles higher insurance premiums. In the 1980s, its use exploded. Business was suddenly extremely invested in the tool. The big Wall Street firms bought into the notion that people's personalities were highly relevant to how they would fit into business. ESTJs, extroverted, sensing, thinking, judging, are supposedly brimming with confidence, so this particular profile became a marketing tool for self-promotion. In fact, Myers-Briggs measures precisely nothing, but it's still a multi-million-dollar industry with organisations using it to test potential and current employees. In her book, The Personality Brokers, Merv Emre says the tool was even used by the CIA and the US military. And yet there is zip evidence supporting its relevance or accuracy. You can get a different outcome when taking the test twice, only hours apart. Some of the psychological preferences that are set up as polarities, such as sensing or intuiting, are not. You can absolutely have a tendency to both sense and intuit. So how did we get here? There are a number of biases at play. First is consistency bias. Once we have started doing something, in this case using the tool, we convince ourselves that it must be useful. Our brains are strongly disinclined to change course. Then there is social norming. We are social creatures. If the tribe does it and the tribe has been doing it for a substantial period, it must be right. We assume that if a tool has been used in a widespread fashion for an extended period, due diligence must have been conducted. Myers-Briggs has the benefit of the bandwagon effect, whereby we do something primarily because other people are doing it. We understand humans have herd mentality in more basic situations, like whether our eyebrows should be thick or thin, but it can occur just as readily in the upper reaches of the corporate world. There is also nothing more delicious to us than being able to claim an identity. I'm a Capricorn. I'm an empath. I'm an ENTJ. Some identities are benign, but if hiring decisions are made and teams constructed according to Myers-Briggs types, that's a problem. Don't take my Myers-Briggs type off me, I hear you say. I like being an ISTJ. If you feel it validates some part of your personality and you find comfort in that, fine. It's just good to remember that saying you're an ISTJ is in the same ballpark as saying I'm a Pisces. Halo, halo, halo. Gabriel is living the halo effect life. It goes like this. You've seen an actor in a film or on TV and then they appear in a commercial spruiking a product. Let's call the actor Roxanne Rowe. Roxanne's promoting a wellness supplement. You think, I really liked her in Avengers Annihilation. I'm going to buy me one of those curcumin detox kits. The reason you're more likely to buy Roxanne Rowe's detox kit is that you're under the thrall of the halo effect. Because you admire someone in one context, you assume they have the goods in another. An employee arrives from Apple or Google and everyone assumes they're going to be a valuable addition. Good looks can also lead us to come unstuck. Gabriel is running the halo effect trifecta. He's good-looking, tall, and brings the aura of a highly successful consultancy with him. We are incredibly biased around height. We subliminally assess tall people to be smarter, more talented, more charismatic, and better leaders. If someone is good-looking, we assume they're going to be a good, decent, intelligent, caring person. I probably don't need to tell you how incorrect this assumption is. I offer you Ted Bundy as evidence. No, I'm not saying all good-looking men are serial killers. Good looks means zilch when it comes to decency. Unfortunately, however, our brains, under the thrall of the halo effect, do not acknowledge this incontrovertible truth. Add a glass of wine to this brain bias, and we're in serious danger of making an inaccurate assumption. Lie detection. Make a meeting work, always. Unless an agenda of questions has been circulated, don't go to the meeting. You have the best excuse now. Practice saying this. Sorry, I didn't get an agenda of focused questions. You can use a button in Teams to reject meetings, they tell me. I don't know how to do that, but I believe it's possible. Imagine how much extra time you'll have to drink coffee and eat croissants. Identity theft. Don't let your need for an identity put you in a box you don't belong in. Don't let your halo slip. That good-looking guy at the end of the bar could be running a charity for the homeless, or he could be running a Ponzi scheme. Either is possible. End of Chapter 6. Thanks for tuning in to Why Smart Women with me, Annie McCubbin. I hope today's episode has ignited your curiosity and left you feeling inspired by my anti-motivational style. Join me next time as we continue to unravel the fascinating layers of our brains and develop ways to sort out the fact from the fiction and the over 6,000 thoughts we have in the course of every day. Remember, intelligence isn't enough. You can be as smart as paint, but it's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. And in all this talk of whether or not you can trust your gut, if you ever feel unsafe, whether it's in the street, at work, in a car park, in a bar, or in your own home, please respect that gut feeling. Staying safe needs to be our primary objective. We can build better lives, but we have to stay safe to do that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast and share it with your fellow smart women and allies. Together, we're hopefully reshaping the narrative around women and making better decisions. So until next time, stay sharp, stay savvy, and keep your critical thinking hat shiny. This is Annie McCubbin signing off from Why Smart Women. See you later. This episode was produced by Harrison Hess. It was executive produced and written by me, Annie McCubbin.